As I was editing the video, I noticed that I left a couple things out and I wanted to reiterate them or explain them. And the main thing I want you to get from this is the nose level, the eye level, as well as where the mouth goes generally. So first of all, you're going to know that the nose, that the eye level is the halfway point of the entire face. The bottom of the circle is where the bottom of the nose is. So if chibis had noses, that's where the nose would go. But chibis don't have noses. Ears usually go along the eye level as well, but since there's a chibi, that anatomy doesn't really apply, and I place them wherever it's convenient for me. So now I'm going to show you how they apply to an actual chibi. So we start off with the same guide circle that represents the skull. And you always want to place down a directional line. In the video, I don't really use much of guidelines, but the more you draw, the more guidelines you add and the more you take away. So since this is a front view, he will have a shin. I explained most of this in the video, but what I did not explain is how you actually go about setting it up with guidelines. Now notice two things. Where the box guideline that I did ends is where the chin or the jaw starts to bend down into the chin. And also note that the lips are also at the halfway point between the nose and the chin. However, there's a rule of thumb, the mouth will be one of the biggest things on the face. So right now I'm pointing out the normal eye level that would be on chibis and other humans, would be around there, the halfway point of the head. But for a more cutesy anime style, just lower the eyes a bit. It'll give it more of a childlike appearance. If you want them to look older, place it a little bit higher. Just note that you will have to move the hairline accordingly. If not, he will have either too big of a forehead or no forehead at all. When they're happy, the eyebrows go arched up. However, I explained most of that in the video. Now I'll be drawing a 3/4 view. So in order that I place the directional line first of where he's facing, and then I go on to the box guideline. These are the two views that we go over in the video. Don't really focus on aerial views or under the person view, because those get harder with perspective. However, the 3/4 view does have perspective on the eyes, which I will cover in just a second. We will be doing the same eyes as we did on the cat from the first video. So basically, just note that they will be the same height. However, the one that's bending in space will be smaller or more squished. So you can use those same rectangle blocks that I just used as a sort of guide when you're drawing them. Now the rest will basically be covered in the video. I just wanted to make it a little bit easier to follow along. So, see you in the video. Hey guys, April's another video. This video is going to be covering the male chibi head. I will be doing other videos on the female chibi head, but we'll start off with the male because they're a bit simpler. Also, this video is going to be drawn on, or was drawn on, a digital platform, so meaning it wasn't drawn with pencil and paper. Now before we go into the actual video, I want to cover the head shapes. So anime, semi-realism, and all those other styles are stylized versions of reality. The actual skull is not a circle and it's more of a box. I want you to keep that in mind if you ever go into any other style of drawing, whether it be realistic or semi-realism. It'll be a little bit more of a square than an actual circle. Now one more thing before we jump into the video, that we're going to be covering two styles of chibi heads in this tutorial. The one to your left is a bit harder to draw because you have to guess how far down the chin is going to go from your guide circle. And the one to your right is a bit easier to draw because you just follow that entire circle all the way down. Now jumping into it, we're going to start off with our guide circle, which just represents the skull. Now we're moving straight into the chin, so starting from the widest point on that circle, you can just draw a box completely all the way around to the other side. However, how far down that box goes is completely up to you. That will make this one a little more difficult. Now onto the ears, don't even think about them, just place them down. Anatomy doesn't really matter. when it comes to chibis. So just place it down wherever it's convenient for you. So if you don't know where to end that jawline, just place down the ear there. This chibi is going to be done in a 3/4 view, so he's sort of looking off into the distance and not directly at us. I always find those to be a bit more interesting than just a plain full frontal view. And then I just go ahead and darken the line of his skull. Now I placed a line representing where his eye level is going to be, and I placed it pretty much where the line for his jaw meets the line of that circle. So basically where the starting of the box that we drew earlier, that's where my eyes are. The higher up you have the eyes, the more basically adult-like he gets, and the lower down, the more cutesy and childlike he gets. For some reason, drawing the mouth got cut out, even on the original recording. I don't know why. But it's basically a triangle with a line representing the tongue. However, don't get too caught up on your character's facial features and focus more on the actual head shape, because that's what's more important right now. So these are pretty cheap eyes that you can get away with. And they look pretty cute. It's the eyes that I used on the first two that we saw when I was talking about the head shape. Just make sure that they're both sort of the same size. However, the eyes we're actually going to use is going to be the same ones we used in our last video with the cat, which is just a slanted semi-oval. He will also be cross-eyed because I find that really cute. However, one thing to keep in mind is that most of your character's expression comes from the eyebrows, which is why I draw most of my characters with eyebrows, including the cats and animals. And one thing that I completely forget is the blushies, and I go and add the blushies back to every single character because no anime character can live without blushies. It's just not possible. Now, one thing to take note of is that the eyes basically symbolize the halfway point of the entire head. Since in this one it's a bit more stylized, I move the eyes down to make it look a little bit more cute. So I will also have to move the hairline down a little bit to make space for if not he'll have the biggest forehead mankind has ever seen. So basically, you want to break down everything into as many simple shapes as you can. And for this one, I basically make it into a box. And for the hairline, I just follow the eyes as a guide. So I go around the head because it's curved, it's not flat. Then I go down to basically where the top of the eye is, and then I start curving it back into the side brow. Now, as far as actually drawing the hair, just pick a direction you want the hair to flow in, and then draw shapes going towards that flow point. Don't draw individual strands or think about it as such, if not you will drive yourself crazy. And this one his hair sort of going up in the front, and it's all coming from the back. So what's really important is the hair that's coming up and flowing over. The rest can just be shaded in, no problem. And you also want some of the hair to reach past that original hairline you drew. That way it looks like it's sort of connected to the head. And I picked it all flowing in that direction, and then I just shaded in the rest because the rest isn't really important. And there you have hair. And I draw a little bit of strands that are breaking away. Now here for the ear, it's actually a lot easier than it looks. It's going to be a T shape. I draw it a couple more times so you can see. The easiest way to explain it is just a T inside of a C. So you draw this stretched C and then you draw a T inside of it. Now we're going to be doing the one that's a bit easier. So we're basically just going to follow that circle shape all the way around. We'll have a little peak right there. And the ear will be placed at the bottom. There really is no thinking behind it. Just place it wherever it's convenient. As long as his towards the bottom side of the skull, it'll look fine. These mouths are a lot easier to do than they look. Once you get that top line down, the top of the mouth, the rest is just connecting. And the same thing goes for the stuff inside the mouth. Once you have that mouth shape done, you pretty much just start eyeballing things. Now notice that these eyes are closed. They're easier to draw than open ones, so if you can't be bothered to draw the open ones, or if they're too hard for you and you haven't gotten them down yet, the closed ones are pretty much the way to go. However, I do actually like the black pupils, like the ones we did earlier for the first two. Also take notice that I put the eyes higher up than I did for the first one, so it gives them a more mature feel. Now for this hair, I honestly just throw down random lines. Like I was not even thinking about what his hair was gonna look like at the end. I just start throwing down lines. So again, don't think about what the hair is gonna look like and then try and work meticulously through it. Just sort of get a shape down and then work around it. For this hairstyle, I start just pulling out shapes from that initial bunch of lines I threw. Which brings up a good point. Don't think of hair as strands. Think of it as shapes. And also have those shapes sort of go a little bit farther down the original hairline you drew. That way it makes it look like it's actually part of the head. Now I make his sides shaved with just horizontal lines. And I darken in the skull. And we can't forget blushies after we draw these bits of strands. Where are they at? There they are. Okay, oof. Scared me for a little. And now we're going to be doing two more heads with different expressions. Following the same process, the one on the left is going to be a little more difficult because the chin is going to go down a little bit farther. Also notice that since this is a front view, I actually draw a chin. I don't just follow the box like we did for the first two. Because for the first two, that peak to the left of the, or to the right of the face is the chin. So for this one, we have to go down a little bit farther. Now for female heads, the chin's actually going to come down to a point, but for males, since they have wider chins, we're not going to come down to a point. For all these mouths that I draw, you can pretty much just copy them. I'm not going to explain them anymore because they're honestly really simple. Now notice that the eyes are going to be slanted down because he's going to be mad. And I do not draw pupils in the mad faces. I feel that just that shape alone is enough to symbolize that he's mad. And then 90% of your expression actually comes from the eyebrows. The eyebrows are actually going to come down and touch the actual eyeball. Then you're going to draw lines coming out horizontally, which is going to represent the bulge it makes from your muscles arching down like that. Now as far as hair goes, remember, don't start off drawing individual strands, draw a big shape, then work your way around it. So this is a front view. The hairline is going to be a bit different. We're only going to see basically the forehead. So again, you can draw that sort of guide where it's just a line and then work your way through it. But for this one, I just went straight to drawing the hair. I followed that original sketch. And then from those lines that I made going into the skull, I just sort of start pulling out shapes again. The more of those you draw, the more realistic the hair gets. But I like leaving it not that realistic. And then I gave them some level up, power, and I drew a little bit of the hands just because I was feeling extra motivated. Did I not give him blushies? Oh no. So I grabbed the last one with a circle a little bit over because I've not we wouldn't be able to see the face. Instead of him being angry here, he's gonna be just a little bit bothered or ticked off. So for this one, I'm literally just gonna make the eyes completely flat at the top and then just draw circles at the bottom. Like, you don't even really need the bottom lines. And we could not forget the blushies. I ended up adding them to the other one as well. Just because he's mad doesn't mean he can't blush. So again, don't just make it flat. Add the shin. And then for his hair, I give him a mohawk. It's sort of flowing in the wind. Then his sides are just going to be shaved. Holy moly, you've made it to the end of the video. Congratulations! But honestly, that pretty much completes our head tutorial. I will be doing one on females in the future. Let me know what you thought about the iPad. I'm not sure if I liked it or not, just because you can't actually see the like pencil or the cursor for the pencil. However, I did like that it showed it how I zoomed in, so you saw what I saw at all times, which was kind of cool. But just let me know in the comments. We will be doing more digital stuff, but it'll be on the drawing tablet, not on my iPad. However, please, please, please do not get caught up on the hair. Hair is not what's important right now. Just getting the basic shapes down and getting used to drawing those shapes is what's important. Hair will come in time. The more you draw it, the better you'll get at it. However, let me know what chibi you like the best. Personally, I like the third one because he's, you know, raging but blushing at the same time. This concludes our video. See you next time.